Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the Sennheiser IE400 Pro in-ear monitors, and huge thanks to Sennheiser. They sent these over back in May and gave me a ton of time to check them out and really get to use them before making this video. Now, the IE400 Pro is a single driver in-ear monitor, currently for sale at the time of this video for $349 here in the US. And these sit right where you'd want to be price-wise, stepping up from maybe the factory earbuds that were included in your in-ear monitor kit, but maybe not quite ready to go out and spend $1,000 or more on custom in-ear molds. Reviewing headphones is always a challenge, and in-ear monitors are no exception. Compared to all the other gear we shop for, headphones are uniquely personal. Unlike shopping for a microphone or a loudspeaker where you're interested primarily in the sound quality as the main thing for a given task, adding personal comfort into the mix can make things kind of tricky. As we move from larger over-the-ear headphones to on-ear and then in-ear headphones, that comfort and the fit can affect the sound quality, so it starts to become pretty important. With in-ear monitors like the IE400 Pro, they need to be set up correctly to fit your ear, and these come with some nice features to let you do that. So I'm going to put them together here, and the detachable cable is one nice feature that really, it's quite simple. They just really just go together that easily, and that's a nice feature in case you have an issue with your cable. It's replaceable. These are nice and flexible. They're not too stiff. I could probably deal with them being just a little bit stiffer, but they do hold their shape incredibly well. So very easy to get a proper fit. As well, with the tips are adjustable. You can see here I've got this set all the way out. You can also put the tip nice and close for a shorter reach there. I tend to like them on that first setting. So Sennheiser gives you a pretty good selection of different tips to choose from, different sizes to combine with that depth setting I just showed you. And I've come back repeatedly to the medium-sized foam. That's what fits and feels the most comfortable for me. But they have small, medium, and large in both the rubber and the foam options for you to get just the right fit. And these work really well. They do offer enough of a range, I think, between all the different options. Obviously, the rubber compresses differently than the foam, so the large rubber and the large foam are going to fit different people differently. You might find one works in one size and not so much in the other, and they give you the options and enough different stuff to try there to get that just right. So that's pretty cool. Now, one of the places where I tested these the most was at the Infocom trade show. I was wearing these all day to reference the audio off of my Electrosonics PDR lav unit, and they were extremely comfortable. Most of the day I was only wearing one earbud just to reference with, and I had the other one just tucked under my collar basically. And just as a side note, I didn't have any issue whatsoever with tips falling off, either the one in my ear or you know, that I was taking in and out a whole bunch, or the one that was just dangling loose for the whole week. I didn't have any issues with the connectors coming undone. It takes a good firm yank to get that out of there. It doesn't just fall out on its own, and this just kind of bounced around, you know, around my collar the whole time with, you know, a camera strap and everything else, and I didn't have any issues. These are the ones I used for that entire week along with everything else I've used them for, and they look pretty much as good as when they came out of the box 4 months ago. So this is 4 months of regular use. I've been using these as my primary daily driver headphone in any situation I can get away with using in-ears instead of over the ear like a Audio-Technica M50 or the Sony 7506 for dialogue work. I've been using these, and they look pretty much the same as when I got them. There's no noticeable wear that I can tell, and you know, a lot of my work involves taking them in and out a ton. So pretty good there on the wear so far. They're really quick to get on and off because they do kind of hold that shape. They're just really easy. There's not a lot of fooling with this design. They fit me well anyway, and you know, that is going to be different for everybody. That's something that is, you're going to have to find in-ears that are comfortable for you. I can't can't guarantee that anything that fits me is gonna, fit you at all. So that included detachable cable is plenty long enough. I was able to wear it in those situations comfortably down the back of my shirt and have it pop out and attach into that lav pack. It wasn't restrictive, it wasn't excessively long, it was just a good length, and it's a nice quality material. Obviously has the little stopper in the back there to secure it tight to the back of your head. That's a really important part of getting a good fit on in-ears, by the way. If you're not doing that, if you're not fitting these in properly, and the generally suggested method for that is to reach over and you kind of pull up on the ear just a little bit and then just let the bud go down in there, and that's a really nice fit. But if you're just letting them dangle like this, you're never going to get a good fit. You really do need to get both of them in from behind and then cinch down on that little stopper there to create the appropriate amount of tension. You want to make sure that that's giving you just the right snug fit there so that these aren't being dragged by the cable out of your ear constantly. That can be the difference between a good fit on in-ears and, again, getting them out, give it a little tug upwards, and that'll pop right out. And getting a good fit on in-ears can be the difference between getting a good sound or not. I've had, definitely heard people complain about the sound of in-ear monitors that I know sound good. They're having complaints about them that sound more like they haven't fit them properly. They're not getting a good seal from them to the outside world, and that can definitely be a reason you're not getting the performance you think you should be getting out of your in-ears. So very important to take care to fit them properly and use that little stopper on the cable. This is a replaceable cable, so if you have any issues with that, they sell it as a separate part. So very handy stuff there. Now, Sennheiser is very confident in the 7mm single dynamic driver in these units. They've developed a series of magnets with a new triple duct ventilation system to reduce distortion and help these drivers get loud. They're hoping the lighter weight and the better fit that you're able to get with these as a result will help to create a better seal for your ear, though, and let you run these lower than you would need to. So it is nice that they get loud, but you should always be careful if you're running, if you're in a situation where you need to be running in-ear monitors excessively loud, or you're not getting enough volume out of like industry standard in-ears on like industry standard packs. You need to take a look at how they're fitting. I think you need to make sure that you're getting the most out of them fit wise, and then a lot of times you just don't have to run them as loud. Also, a lot has been written about wearing only one versus both. Wear both ears. It's really important. The science behind it is pretty definitive. You don't want to be up on stage with one ear having an in-ear and the other one listening to ambient. You will really have some struggles down the line if that's the approach you go with. And I know tons of famous people, you see tons of people all the time doing it, and it's just not great for your ears. So be careful with that if that's what you're comfortable with. Now, there is a 5-part series on Sennheiser's website about these drivers. They go into all the detail about how, in which ways they think these are superior to multi-driver designs, and there are just some real points they make there. Obviously, anytime that you can avoid splitting up your signal through crossovers, a single driver approach certainly does eliminate the crossovers and those associated issues you have. So I don't have enough time personally using the super modern multi-driver examples that are out there to make an opinion or compare these to those. What I have owned are the Ultimate Ear dual driver versions, and those I think were somewhere $400 or $500 when I bought the set that I had. The current model that would be equivalent would be the UE5 Pro, and those run right around $499. And honestly, I'd have a hard time if I was in the target demographic for these, which is kind of your, part-time or weekend musician or semi-professional musician. I'd have a hard time spending that extra $150 to get from these at $350 up to a $500 dual driver, just in my experience with the dual drivers I've tried. Now, talking to many viewers that have tried the multi-drivers and that tour with, professional monitor engineers that watch the channel that I've talked to, there are a lot of folks using the 6, the 9, the 12, and even 18 driver in-ear monitors. 64 Audio is one brand that I keep getting suggested to try over and over. And these things are real money. You know, like I said, they're a couple $1,000s a set for some of these, and professionals are using them and relying on them. So I'd love to hear it if anybody out there has used these and also has experience with those multi-driver setups that cost a good bit more and can give some real feedback on that. I think that would be a unique perspective if you've used both for any reason. In the kit, you get a nice carrying case, and I find the insert in here to kind of be a hassle. Honestly, the carrying case is okay, but accessories-wise, it's not great. So this thing's kind of a pain, but luckily it's Velcro, so you can just leave that behind. And then I typically just coil these up and set them in there, something like that, and that works just fine for me. The other criticism I have of the case is obviously there's nowhere to put any of the other tips, so you can only kind of bring what you need with you. And then this little mesh pocket up here just doesn't, you know, every time you open it, you kind of losing your stuff. So you do get the 1/8 to 1/4 inch adapter, that's pretty standard, and you get the little earwax pickaxe kind of guy. And if you're having an issue with the earwax situation, cleaning your in-ear monitors, or if you're on a tour or working with a band and you're responsible for maintaining their monitors, you might want to look at one of the Jody vacs that I've linked below. And those are really, really handy for keeping things like this clean and sanitary, especially night after night if you're working with other people's equipment. And that's a tip from Nicholas Redina, a monitor engineer from OAR, who was on the channel before. And he's got a great video over on his YouTube channel, I'll link it below as well, where he shows how to maintain your in-ear monitors quickly and effectively and hygienically from night to night on a tour that's, you know, moving quickly and going from city to city, and you don't have a ton of time to waste. So check out Nicholas, he's got some really cool tips on practical stuff like that on his channel. So the IE400 Pro, I really like them. I've been using them a lot, and I think they're a really practical step up, like I said, from that $99 price point. If you're not quite able to justify something bigger or more expensive. And I say that because talking again to a lot of viewers and a lot of professionals and folks that use those more expensive in-ear monitors, I've tried to ask everybody, well, what, you know, made you buy these? What was the deciding factor? And pretty much every single professional I've talked to, the deciding factor on which in-ears they currently own was whatever they had to purchase to match the musicians on the last gig they were doing mixing monitors. And it makes total sense. There's absolutely no reason to have a set of $2,000 12 driver in-ears if the entire band you're working with is using stock $99 earbuds. At that point, you're really not putting yourself in their shoes, and you're not doing yourself any favors, you know, trying to achieve a mix that sounds good on what they're listening to. So something like this can be a nice middle ground. This could be something that a musician would feel comfortable buying themselves and trying maybe, as opposed to having a musician that, you know, doesn't have the budget go and spring for some set of crazy in-ears on your recommendation. Obviously, there are times and places where that's appropriate, but for somebody you're working with maybe on a smaller tour or a first rig, switching over to in-ears, or a band that's new to them, I think these are a huge upgrade from what comes included in the kit, and it's just a kind of a practical middle ground for folks that just maybe aren't ready to take the full dive and spend thousands. It's already expensive enough to get the wireless gear, to get in-ears happening, and to get everybody convinced, or to get a band to start carrying their own small rack mixer and splitter and all this other stuff. So a lot of times earbuds can get neglected, and then when you come in at $500 or $1,000 per musician for a set of them, taking a band out on tour, this can be just a nice, comfortable place to be and to feel like you get some features. So I like them. I've been using them, like I said, and have been really happy. They've worked out for me very well, kind of as a substitute again for anything where I would take a 7506 or feel comfortable using my Audio-Technica ATH M50Xs.